There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me and you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are, and let your light shine. We're so much more. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See when new eyes allow and unfold, embracing that go. Trust flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love and welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here, and you are welcome here. And breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you, and all that you feel, and all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. And peace is welcome here. And you are welcome here.
This is the call to service, the morning call. Join me as we know this together. How I choose to think creates my personal experience. Therefore, I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to speak affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. Not only is this my right, it is my responsibility. As a conscious being, I allow myself to be guided, used, and available for the reawakening of everyone's magnificence. The moment is now, and I say yes. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Ursula, one of our staff ministers. Thank you, John Stringer, for that beautiful opening song, as always. And good morning, SLCA family from coast to coast. We are so glad that you are with us this morning. You belong here in this virtual space that we're creating that's broadcasting right into your living room, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Please do us a favor, take a moment to share this broadcast on your social media feed. Use the hashtag SLCA, hashtag you belong, so that people know about us and your friends are seeing that you are participating in something that you find uplifting and inspirational, and others might find us as well. If you're new here this morning in this broadcast, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. You're part of a worldwide movement called Centers for Spiritual Living. And the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta has a 40-year history anchored in the greater Atlanta area, and now expanding our reach across the world through this online medium. We're so delighted to be with you all this morning. My name is David Alexander. I'm the spiritual director, and I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening, events online and things that are occurring in our community. First and foremost, ways to give. We are so grateful for all of the support that comes our way by means of you. You support this ministry. You keep this ministry going. You allow us to be reaching you this morning through the intention that you have to circulate part of your good into our collective good. So thank you so much for that. If you want to participate or increase that circulation this morning, or participate for the first time, it's really easy to do. Best way to do it, text to give. The phone number is there on your screen. Just like texting a message to a friend, the dollar amount is your message. The phone number is there. You'll get a prompt back that allows you to put in all your information, and it is securely handled by our online management system. We do not see any of the credit card information. Or you can go on our website, slca.com/donations. You can find PayPal there, other methods to do online, or send in a check if that's a way that you prefer to do. We still go to the center, we still open the mail, and we love opening mail when there's a check in there. Amen. Very exciting. So thank you so much for all the ways that you give and support SLCA. We'll do our affirmation for our grateful giving a little bit later on at the end of the service. A few more things for you to know about. First of all, we're in this digital age, and some of you may have or may in the future appear to get an email from me or from someone else in our organization that says it's asking for gift cards for somebody in the hospital or something like that. It's a scam. Now, our system is not hacked, right? Our emails come from @slc-atlanta.org. If there's any variation of that, a Gmail thrown in, something else using my name, whatever it is, it's not that our system has been hacked. It's that they're actually phishing and grabbing information off of our website and then making up an email and then making it look like it's coming from us. But it's not actually being generated from our system. It's a Gmail hack thing that is going on. And we're not the only ones. Lots of ministries are dealing with this right now. So please know that, one, all of our emails officially come from @slc-atlanta.org. And secondly, that we never ask for you to go out shopping for gift cards and then to send us the code or anything weird like that. If you have a question about something you've received, just pick up the phone and call us and we'll straighten it out. But all of our, greater social service giving is happening through official channels. We tithe out money that you give to us, and we do that officially. And we have donations for things occasionally, but those are all ways that we're very clear about how to do that locally at the center, never calling in a code or something based on something you purchased. So please be aware of that, and thank you for helping us spot those things. With that out of the way, let's talk about some events that you can participate in. Lunch and Learn, Reducing Stress is an Inside Job with Greta Counts, practitioner Greta. And we're so grateful for her service to help us just tone down the stress and practice that inside job and develop those skills and tools for becoming more mindful and centered throughout our day. That's going to be Tuesdays, March 9th through the 30th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's our wonderful Lunch and Learn program. Just pop in for an hour, get some wisdom, and then pop out. Make a love donation if you choose to. Coming up next Saturday, my goodness, it has been a year. I'll talk more about this during the message, but it's been a year that we've been in this format, and I've been coming to you through this means. And so we are so looking forward to our second Live on the Drive outdoor concert in our parking lot. It was very well received the last time we did it, and the weather is wonderful, and we pray and affirm that the weather will hold for us through next Saturday as we gather together live on the drive, 2 to 5 p.m. Safe outside, social distancing, bring a lawn chair, sit, spaced out. We will have some activities for you to roam around and connect through our theme, Connect, Grow, Serve, and Give, and find some interesting information from people in our community about how to incorporate those principles and ideas into your life. And of course, hear great music and just see each other, hug each other virtually. We even invite some of our out-of-town visitors, if you're close, our out-of-town community members, right? We have people that call SLCA home all over the country. And so if you're able, come on in town and join us for the day. We would love to see you. That would be wonderful. And so that's Saturday, March 20th coming up. Can't wait for that. We have our next online class. As you know, we have been really directly hitting the message of social justice and what is our responsibility in that individually and as a community. And so as a community, we're doing lots of education, sometimes just through Sunday service and the messages that we broadcast. But we also want to take it a step further in really doing the inner work, because the work of racial healing and social justice is actually an inside job, right? Because everything's an inside job, because it's consciousness first. So as we heal the consciousness from which these things come, then we can change the outcome that we're seeing on the outside. So Unpacking Whiteness starts March 22nd. This is with my friend. I know Jen Moore. She's an educator, college professor, worked with her through our community in Oregon, and she is amazing. And she's done this class many times and done it for spiritual communities. It is excellent, eye-opening. She's gentle but firm in the opportunity for white people in particular to unpack all of the ways in which we've been socialized and conditioned into acting and behaving in certain ways that, to just say it quickly and frankly here, do not contribute to a world that works for everyone. And since our vision is to create a world that works for everyone, we have some unpacking that we have to do around that. And so this is our opportunity to do this Monday nights, starting March 22nd, 7 p.m. See more information on our website. And then the end of the month, we're kicking off spring. I think it's Palm Sunday on the 28th, and we're going to be broadcasting from our center, and that'll be exciting. And then in the afternoon, after our service is over, we'll be broadcasting again through Zoom to our pledging members, a town hall meeting. And this is where we will give you the scoop of everything that happened in 2020 financially and organizationally, and then what our vision is going forward. So lots of information, opportunity to ask questions. Karen Ratz, our board president, will be there. I'll be there. We'll be sharing with you organizational update of the past year, and also our objectives going forward and how you can be even more engaged in supporting this amazing center and continuing our reach and our impact on the world. We're so grateful for each of you. So that'll be March 28th in the afternoon, 12:30 Eastern Time. I believe we have a link for that, so you can get the Zoom registration because we won't be broadcasting that on Facebook. And finally, practitioners are available in the chat today. If you need prayer support, please reach out. Let us know that you would like someone to connect with, to pray. We will get you connected for prayer after the service. And very easy to do that on YouTube, on Facebook. Make a comment that you would like prayer today. We have people watching for that. We have practitioners watching, and we will connect with you privately and get that prayer time set up with you. All right. Thank you so much for being part of today's service. Sit back, relax, pour that extra cup of coffee or tea, and let's have an amazing, amazing day together. Good morning, beloveds. You belong.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling through to make it another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Good morning. My name is Idella Veal, and I proudly serve as a licensed practitioner at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. And I invite you to be with me this morning in the affirmative prayer. So if you would sit tall and feet on the floor and hands in a receptive mode, I will speak these words in first person and ask that you receive what resonates with you as your own. This is what I know and what I recognize. There's only one life, and that life is God's life, for God is the originating source of life. All there is, everywhere, all the time, all knowing, all powerful. This forever evolving power of oneness and love permeates the universe. It is the field of infinite possibilities. I unify with God. Yes, I am one with the one, mine. And I invite the fullest expression of God to radiate, vibrate in and all through me. Now, I'm aligned and I connect. I realize and declare I am a divine idea in the mind of God that came to this life fully equipped from stardust and God stuff. I know that the same energy and power that creates the universe is the same energy and power that flows through my beingness and everyone that is on this planet. I celebrate life with the knowing we all belong. We are all worthy. This world has called upon us to all be more kind. In our efforts of kindness, we begin to see the walls of judgment and injustice and insecurity and fear fall away. I give thanks for this truth. I release and let go of any and all judgment and insecurity, knowing we are all a divine idea in the mind of God. So with unwavering faith and absolute trust in the law that always says yes, I release these truths and rest assured that the law is at work. It is done, all is well, as we say together, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me. Through me.
Thank you, Penelope, and thank you, Shasta, and thank you, Practitioner Shasta and Practitioner Idella Veal, for that amazing, uplifting, affirmative prayer. Good morning, family. Good morning. Good morning. Wow. It has been a year. It has been 1 year this Sunday, today, that we shifted our life, shifted everything. Remember 2020, that was the year our theme was Holy Shift. And we took that dramatic shift, as most spiritual communities did, in early March, to move to online only, to make space for this new thing that had come into our life that was demanding our attention and our separation, our distancing, and our conscious awareness about how to be with it. And we all thought when it started that, oh, well, this will be a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and then we'll get back to things, right? And here we are 12 months later. 12 months later. We kept checking in those early months about, oh, well, I guess it's not going to be a month. It's going to be, what do you think, 3 months? You think by the summer? You think by June? Yeah, by Father's Day, right? And the goalposts kept moving, right? Father's Day, 4th of July, maybe by the fall. Surely by September, October, we'll be back. Well, this might last through December. This might last through the holidays, and all of us kind of in the church world thought, oh no, how are we going to do the holidays? All these special church services that are usually packed, how are we going to do that online? This is going to go through the new year. This is going to go through the spring. Wow. So just take all that in. When something new comes into our life, wanted or unwanted, invited or uninvited, you ever had an uninvited guest that just comes in and plops itself down into your life, into your awareness, into your routine? And as I'm asking that question, the answer should be yes, because for all of us, dealing with this virus has been an unwanted guest that has come in and demanded our attention. And when we have something new in our presence, it requires that adjustment, and it requires ultimately the release and the letting go of whatever it is that we can no longer have time for, or can handle, or is appropriate given the new behaviors that are required in this new space. So we're going to talk today about releasing and letting go on this 1-year anniversary, or as I heard it said by someone, our coronaversary. So happy coronaversary, if that's your take. But I also want to begin by thanking both Reverend Susan Zoller and Burnett Sherman covering for me for the last 2 weeks. And I think they both did an outstanding and exquisite job, uniquely. Reverend Susan Zoller last week in launching this new month, Open to Possibilities, and our theme, and Burnett Sherman in closing out Black History Month and our month of February, and focusing on her book and her grandfather's story. And what an amazing 2 services that was. So I hope you got as much out of them as I did, including a little rest and relaxation that I needed as well. And so as we begin today, it is Women's History Month. We had International Women's Day back on the 8th, and we have this theme, Open to Possibilities. And so I begin with the recognition and the awareness and the gratitude for all of the women in New Thought that have played significant roles in opening our teaching to, and opening to the world, greater possibilities of being able to access a spirituality and a way of connecting with the divine that had been predominantly dominated, right? The religious spiritual space had been predominantly dominated by patriarchy and by ideas that denied the divine feminine. And so it's important for us to remember, as we lean into this month together, that the possibilities of a new way of connecting about spirituality, the possibilities of understanding ourselves as spiritual beings having a human experience, in large part in the Western world, in this United States of America expression called New Thought, was driven by women. Emma Curtis Hopkins, right? Imagine over 120 years ago, moving to Chicago from the Boston area after a brief time with Mary Baker Eddy in the Christian Science movement, moving to do her own work, moves to Chicago, opens a seminary, and trains thousands of people in that seminary, most of them women, who then go all throughout the United States, open up another school down in New Orleans. They go to Denver and create the Divine Science movement. They go to San Francisco and open up works there, all over the United States in the early 1900s, women carrying this message of new thought and new possibilities, a new way of connecting with the divine, that the divine was right here within, that it wasn't a God male figure in the sky, but it was actually an infinite intelligence. Imagine hearing that from a woman minister, right, who would say, your intuition, actually, that little thing inside of you that says, there's something in you that says that you know, right? Which at the time, all women, and still today, all women would be able to hear that and say, I know exactly what you're talking about, right? I know exactly that voice you're speaking of, right? But imagine hearing somebody say, that thing which you've always been connected to, that thing which is always telling you what is right and what is wrong and the direction to go, and that inner wisdom, you can actually trust that, because that is actually God. That's actually the voice of the divine, right? And that's actually what Jesus was following, and that's actually what all the great spiritual masters and mystics were following, that still small voice. How wonderful. So from Emma Curtis Hopkins all the way to our centers for spiritual living that have been led by women, Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn, who was one of our early spiritual leaders, and currently the Dean of the Holmes Institute, guiding ministerial students to this day through their path of ordination and seminary training, to women ministers all throughout the movement, many who have been teachers and guides to me, all the way down to our board president today, and the executive director of Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Sonia Burns, and on and on and on we could go with the names. And so we lift up and honor all of them and all of us, because all of us included, the men as well. We're honoring the divine feminine as an aspect of the totality of our spirituality. So with that, let's talk about opening up to greater possibilities. Let's talk about what is this idea that we can open up to a greater idea and release and let go of the things that are no longer serving us. All spiritual work, this comes from my friend, Reverend Ray Jordan, who was the visioning facilitator of the spiritual practice of visioning in our movement for a very long time. Reverend Ray Jordan says this, she says, all spiritual work is actually the process of subtraction. Hear that again, take that in. All spiritual work is actually the process of subtraction, the releasing of old ideas about us and false beliefs about life. By releasing old ideas and false beliefs, you welcome insights which reveal how to open to your highest good. All spiritual work is actually the process of subtraction, the releasing of old ideas about us and false beliefs about life. The releasing of these old ideas and false beliefs, when you release them, you welcome new insights, which reveal how to open to your highest good. That's wonderful, isn't it? I love that all spiritual work is the process of subtraction, which, causes me to go, for just a second, like, let me think about that. Because our path into spiritual work, into new thought, into greater spirituality and understanding is the other way around. Right? Think about your own path for a moment. How did you come to this teaching, and what is it that you were searching and looking for? Most people come into the doors, virtually or physically, into a spiritual center, into this spiritual path, looking for something, seeking something, desiring something, on a path of acquisition, right? To get right in with relationship, to get right with money, to get right with new job, new career, and maybe that path was initiated by the loss of something, right? Divorce, life change, career change, something shifted, old ways of being just weren't working. Somebody introduced this idea to you. Maybe you even surrendered the idea of even that religion was a part of your life, that spiritual, this God thing, right? But somebody said, well, would you be willing to have a new thought about God? I know this place, right? They don't think about it like that. It's not a beard in the sky, man beard in the sky kind of idea. It's actually this intuition. It's actually this life force, right? And you went, oh, actually, I've always thought that. Actually, there's something within me that always said that that's the way it was. Tell me more, right? And we found our way into a spiritual center, right? Am I speaking to anybody's path here? Or you read a book? A lot of people who came to New Thought through Wayne Dyer, or through Deepak Chopra, or through Neil Donald Walsh, somebody exposed them to something, and then they found their way. My mother found her way to the teaching through Science of Mind magazine, right? And so often our approach and our journey of spirituality is a journey in which we are seeking something. Again, that new job, that new partner, that new perspective, that more prosperity, that new desire of our heart to be realized. And so we're on a path of spiritual acquisition, right? But as we get into the teaching, as we get into ourselves and through meditation and practice and prayer, we begin to see that there's actually a shift required, and that the journey is not about the acquisition of things. It's not about the manifesting as we were taught in the 80s. It's not the parking places, princes, princesses, and palaces, right? It is something more, right? The real shift is about moving from acquisition to comprehension. Again, moving from acquisition to comprehension. Why? Because when we are coming from lack, then the goal is to get, right? If you come in the doors and you're coming from, I don't have enough money, I don't have the right job, I don't have this, that, whatever, right? If you're coming from lack, then the goal or the job is to get whatever it is you think that you don't have. But if you're coming from, as you, and that's okay. If that's the way you came, that's the way you came. Right? Many of us have had that same experience. We came looking for something that we thought we didn't have. But as you get into the teaching, as you begin to open up, as you crack open that big Science of Mind textbook, as you take a class, as you work with a practitioner, we begin to guide you into an awareness that instead of coming from what you don't have, instead of coming from lack, come from where you are. Come from the I am. Come from this grounded place that says God is all there is. And when you come from where you are and from what is, then you realize that you're not here to get anything, but you're here to shed. You're actually here to shed light, right? To shed light on that which already is and that which you already are, and to shed both ways, right? To shed the dead weight, to shed the old ideas and beliefs, the old ways of thinking, to shed the old habits, to shed light on the divine truth of your being, and to shed off, to shake off, right? The old habits and ideas that are no longer working. And so acquisition says, what do you want? Comprehension says, do you understand what's really happening? Do you understand how consciousness works? Do you understand that God is all there is? Do you understand that you lack nothing? Because you are the divine, you are the stardust looking back on itself, as my friend Dr. Beckwith would say, right? Do you understand that consciousness is everything? And when you comprehend, you can stop when you grasp what it is that we're asking you to grasp in comprehension, then you can stop the mental game of competition. Whew. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? When you stop the mental, or rather, when you grasp the comprehension, when you stop the acquisition, seeking for things outside of yourself, and you begin to move into meditative contemplation and comprehension, do you understand who you are? Do you understand how the universe works? Do you understand this thing called metaphysics? Do you understand that you're connected to a divine idea that's trying to move through you? Do you understand, right? Do you comprehend? And as that comprehension begins to grow, then you can shift. Comprehension allows you to stop the game of competition. Competition. I got to get more because they're getting more. I gotta move up because they're moving up. I gotta have more than the Joneses and the next door neighbors and the et cetera, right? No longer a game of competition, either externally between those around us, or competition. Sometimes some of us are just in competition with ourselves, competition with old ideas, competition with things our parents taught us or the world taught us about who we should be, where we should be in certain points of life, how we should be excelling or performing or showing up, right? Through comprehension, we begin to decrease the competition, and to step into the isness of who we are. Why? Because we understand that we already belong, right? That's why I'm so excited about our theme this year. You belong, right? It's simple, but it's powerful, right? You belong. You're already home. You're already whole. You belong. You belong to the universe in which you live. God is all there is, and you're part of it. Everything that you are is God's stuff. Do you comprehend what I'm saying? Do you comprehend this idea that the universe is trying to? And when you begin to say yes to that, the competition goes away, internally and externally, and opening up to the isness of life presents itself, to the belonging and to the anchoring of the now moment. Oof. Well, I'm telling you, if we were together, we'd have testimony service right here. I'd have somebody up on their feet and I'd say, tell me about it. Tell me your story. Tell me your journey. Tell me how you came to comprehend that God is all there is and that it's good in your life working right now and you don't need to get anything. Come on, tell me, somebody. I want you to do testimony service right there in the chat box if you can. Somebody testify to what I'm saying. Ooh, I'm telling you what, when we come back together physically in the building, I don't know how we're going to contain ourselves. The services are going to look a little different because we're just going to have to break out and make room for the Holy Ghost every once in a while. Whew. But it's good because I need to take a break and tell you, we have not set a date yet, but we are in the visioning and planning stages, and we are assuring ourselves and you'll hear more at our annual meeting. It's like a little commercial break right here in the middle of the message. But we're ensuring that we're going to have the equipment is being installed in the room so that we've got multiple cameras. We can move into close shots because right now everybody gets to get a good experience, right? The lighting is good. The camera angle is good, whether it's me or Penelope or our singers and the practitioners. And we're going to continue that even when we're in the building so that there's no sense of a decreased experience for those of you who either choose to stay home or are not physically in the greater Atlanta area. So we're going to create an inclusive experience that has everybody having a high quality experience. And you know what? And just a little plug here, that's made possible because you give, because you support and you tithe and you contribute. So we can do that. We can step up our game and step into a new experience. Sometime later this year, it might be, I don't know. I don't want to say a date and be wrong about it, but sometime this year, it's coming soon. I promise you. And so now we can step. Okay, commercial is over. Back to the message. Spirit's telling me move on. Now we can catch the vision. Now we've let go of the competition. Now we can catch the vision. This is the move that Jesus is trying to teach the master teacher when he's at the pools of Bethesda. Right, I've used this metaphor before, but it's a good one for this moment, isn't it? He's at the hot springs. That's where he is. At the pools of Bethesda is a hot springs. I grew up in New Mexico. We had the hot springs in the Jemez Mountains. We had the hot springs outside of Oregon. I haven't found them here yet in Georgia, but I know they're here somewhere. And you get in the mineral rich mud and clay and let it cake and dry on you, and then get into the mineral water and exfoliate your skin and all that good stuff. So Jesus went to the spa. How about that? Jesus is at the spa, Bethesda spa, and he's there, and everybody's trying to get to the healing waters. When the waters move, the people move, and they want to get right when the I imagine the story is trying to say when the spring fills up, right? The natural hot spring, then people move to the water to get healed. And he meets a man who's been sitting there. He's been sitting there a long time, and he's on his mat. And Jesus says, how long have you been here? I see that you're not moving. Everybody else is moving. I see you're not moving. And he says, I've been here 38 years, which is a symbol, right? It's close to 40, which means a very, very long time. 40 is a very significant symbol in the biblical text. 38 means a real long time, right? 40 is as long as it takes. So 38 is close to that, right? Almost as long as it takes, right? Been here a long time. But I can't get to the water because when the waters come, everybody else gets there before me. And I'm, disabled, unable to get. We don't know exactly what his infirmary is in the physical sense, but he's not able to get to the water. But Jesus says, take up your bed and walk, right? Catch the vision of, release the idea that you're disconnected from your healing. Release the idea that you're separate from your good. Release the idea. You see, it begins with the release. All spiritual work is the process of subtraction. In order for this man to get his healing, he had to subtract something from his collective consciousness. More so than gain something. He had to release the idea that he was separate from his good, separate from his healing, separate from that which would bring more good into his life. Take up your bed and walk. Catch the vision that it's right here at hand. What if whatever you thought you were separated from wasn't true? We've been separated from each other. We've been separated from family. We've been separated from our workplaces. We've been in this season of social distancing as a physical reminder, actually, and somewhat ironically, right, of how connected we are, right? Turns out all that buzzing and moving about on the freeways and highways and byways of life and interacting with each other and just a constant connection with others. In that constant connection, we actually forgot how connected we were. That what connected us wasn't the highways and byways and the workplaces and the malls and the shopping areas and everything else, but what connected us was the breath. What connects us is actually invisible. What connects us is actually in the air, because it is the air. And humanity forgot its sense of greater connection. And so humanity birthed the idea that said, let me remember who and what I really am. And so when we catch the vision, when we release and let go of the ideas that are no longer serving us, we can step into a process that we call in our spiritual teaching visioning, right? Which is about catching the idea. What is it that it's not about what is it that you want. Remember, that's acquisition. In spiritual visioning, the question is, what is it that wants you? What is it that wants you? There's a wholeness that wants you. There's a fullness of life that wants you. There's a prosperity that wants you. There's a health and vitality that wants you. There's a justice and humanity that wants the collective. There's a wholeness that wants all of us. There's a pulse of life that is seeking, knocking on the door of our awareness, seeking entrance. But we must give it entrance. We must give it permission to enter fully in, to be embodied, encapsulated in who and what we are. And so in visioning, we ask, what is the highest idea of my life? What is it that wants me? And as someone says, we must increase our receptivity continuously and extend and expand our comprehension. He says, we shall declare 100 times a day, there is no limit to the good which is mine. We shall declare 100 times a day, there is no limit to the good which is mine. There is no limit to the good which is mine. Why? Because that's not a self-statement, because what is mine is also yours. So what is yours is mine. We're all connected. There's only one of us here. There's only one humanity. There's only one divine idea expressing. So there is no limit to the good, because it is everything that is. Come on, talk to me, somebody. And so right now, I invite you to see if you can take a breath here and catch a vision for what is possible by simply stepping into the knowing that you are surrounded by a divine idea that wants to manifest itself as your life. Right? Are you ready? Right? Can you catch the vision? Right? And can you hold as possibility here this morning? Our theme for the month is possibilities. Can you hold the possibility that what I'm about to show you is not only the process for downloading the vision, but also embedded with that is all of the steps that you need to manifest this good into your life. all of the steps you need. There's no other class to take. There's no other seminar. There's no other secret that you need. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm going to give you the whole enchilada. Are you ready? Are you open to the possibility, right? So we begin with, what is it that wants me? What is it that's seeking me? What is it that's trying to happen here, right? When we ask ourselves, what is the highest vision for my life? What is the highest vision for Centers for Spiritual Living? What is the highest vision for the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta? What is the highest vision for fill in the blank? It could be your company. It could be your family. It could be your project you're working on. It could be anything. What is the highest vision for myself, for the world, etc.? And what we're asking there is, what is trying to happen here? And then we allow ourselves to see through. This is very important. We allow ourselves to see through the headlines, the drama, the things that are the shiny objects in the newspaper and all of that are seeking to grab our attention. Notice I didn't say not see them. Notice I didn't say ignore them. I said to see through them. To see through them is to still be looking at them. To see through something, you got to be looking at it. You can't see through something that you're not paying attention to. Oof, come on, somebody. When we talk about the conditions of the world, when we talk about the conditions of social inequity, when we talk about it's been 1 year since Breonna Taylor was senselessly murdered, when we talk about George Floyd, when we talk about social justice, when we talk about any system of inequity, global or local, when we talk about conditions in our own life that are not working, we do not teach that ignorance is bliss. We do not teach that you ignore what is happening. We teach that you see through it, but to see through it, it's got to be in front of you, right? I can see through my hands to the camera right now, but it's got to be here. I can't see through if it's over here. So I got to look at it and see clearly. To see through something means to see it for what it really is. Not to be distracted by the drama that it's trying to create, not to be confused by the sense of separation that it's trying to generate, not to be polarized by the polarization that it's trying to create, but to see it for what it is, to look at it with the inner eye, to look at it and say, what's really trying to happen here? I have to look at conditions in the world and in my own life when they are confusing and confounding to me, hurtful or damaging. And I say, what is it that's really trying to happen here? Since God is all that there is, this is part of it too. Since God is all there is, this drama, this news story, this upheaval in humanity, this is part of God too. Since God is all there is, what is it that is in this that is carrying a message of something that's trying to happen here, right? You see how that is different than turning away from the condition and ignoring it, pretending like you don't see it, being a Pollyannic, I almost said polyamorous. That's a completely different topic. We'll cover that some other day. But to be a right, to be a Pollyannic view, God is all there is, and it's just all good, and I don't look at the negative, and I don't pay attention to the ugly things, and I don't. No. See it for what it really is. Look at it and say, because I know that God is the source and substance and supply of everything on the planet, this inequity, this challenge, this statement, this condition, this has got a divine message in it. It's trying to get me to see something. And so I look with the inner eye, not with the outer eye that pits us against them, and liberals versus conservatives, and Democrats and Republicans, and justice and injustice. And no. I see with the inner eye. I see with God's eye, and I see what this is trying to do. This is trying to get somebody's attention. This is trying to wake us up. This is a slap across the face of humanity to say, can you feel me now? Do you know how connected you are? Do you know how good God is? Do you know how much good you have in store? If you can see it, you got to be able to catch the vision. And so what is it that is trying to happen? What has this year been about? Are we able to see that society is seeking to heal from the multiple traumas of the past and heal the intergenerational trauma, the intergenerational re-traumatization of these wounds? Do we see that that's what's really happening when they come up to the surface? That it is not about, oh, look how divided humanity is, and we should not pay attention to the division because we believe that God is all there is. Stop that nonsense. That is metaphysical malpractice. Knock it off. Knock it off. Because if you've noticed, it's not helping anybody. You got to call yourself up and reach down into your spiritual roots and stand on firm and solid ground that says God is all that there is. And this thing which is challenging my awareness, this thing which is challenging my perception, is trying to get my attention and our attention, and something is trying to happen here. There's a healing that wants to happen in the holy family of God. And that's why, Lord have mercy. Can we see an awakening of our collective responsibility, transforming gross materialism into whole earth planetary service? Right? Can we see it? Can we see the awakening of compassion? That we put forward compassion policies that put our humanity at the forefront, knowing that true prosperity can only come when the dignity and worth of all people is protected. Can we see what's trying to happen? You see, can we see what's trying to happen in our own life, that there's a call and a vision for wholeness, peace, prosperity, well-being, thriving? You're not here to survive life. You're here to thrive abundantly in all areas, right? And once you catch a glimpse, and that's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need to see the whole thing. You just need to catch a glimpse, enough of a spark to inspire you to move forward. Ooh, let me see if I can move forward now. I need to bring this home. To bring it home, somebody. Come on. Once you catch the vision, then you ask the question, what must I become? What must I become in order for this vision, this glimpse, this thing that I've seen, this possibility, this greater possibility for all of humanity or for myself? What must I become? I've got to expand. I've got to become more. I've got to make room for this. So what must I become? And very quickly, I'm going to go through these steps because I want to show you how to reverse engineer it, because it is the exact process for how to manifest something in your life. Are you ready? Let's do this fast. What must I become? Then you ask, what must I do? What must I do? There's beingness, becoming. I must become receptive. I must become more. I must become willing. I must become more loving. I must become open, right? And then there's what must I must do? That's action. That's not about just being sitting in meditation, but what must I do? I must physically make room for this in my life. I must put myself in class and educate myself about what it's going to take. I must make some mindful choices about my finances. I must learn what a good partnership is so that I can manifest that in my life. I must enroll in a relationship class, or I must get to the gym or be dedicated to my fitness. Whatever the case may be, there's something to do. There's something to be. There's something to do. What must I embrace? What must I embrace? What must I be? What must I do? What must I embrace? I'm doing these in a particular order. Some people do the life visioning process in different orders, and really there's no wrong way to do it, but I'm telling you how I do it because there's a particular way of manifesting as a result of it. What's the vision? What must I become? What must I do? What must I embrace? Now that I'm doing this new thing, I must embrace the possibility that this could be my life, right? I must embrace the possibility that I can live with this feeling, with this freedom, with this liberation, with this sense of prosperity, with this sense of wholeness, with this sense of unconditional love in my life, with this sense of justice and well-being for all people. What must I embrace? And then, what must I release? What must I release and let go of? What must I release and let go of so that there are no obstacles to the path? There's no old ideas that are going to creep back up like a weed in your garden. You didn't plant the weed, but you planted new flowers, but then the weed comes up. You say, what are you doing here, right? What must I release or let go of so there are no obstacles in the way? Now, I've just given you the secret. You reverse engineer it. You know our symbol, the V in the circle? Highest idea, being, doing, embracing, releasing. The secret to manifesting, now that you've done the visioning, the meditative process called visioning with those questions in that order, at least according to me, and it's only according to me, but this is who you're listening to today. Now reverse engineer it, right? The V goes up the other way. You begin with release. So in other words, it looks like this. Often I do visioning with a group of people, right? Staff, partners, a team, whatever the case may be. Then you come out of the visioning and say, okay, now how am I going to do this in my life? And the question is, first, the process is first, make yourself dedicated to the release. So you might have an accountability partner, a prayer partner, or a life partner, spouse, whatever the case may be. Could be a coworker if you're visioning on a project for your business, or coworker if you're visioning as a staff. You hold each other accountable. In other words, I want somebody to hold me accountable to releasing whatever it is I need to release. That's the most important thing out of the visioning process. Remember, spirituality is a subtraction process, right? Again, that quote from Ray Jordan, all spiritual work is actually the process of subtraction, the releasing of old ideas and false beliefs, right? Michael Beckwith says 100% of our spiritual growth is in the letting go, the releasing. So we dedicate ourselves to releasing, because only when we release are our hands free, both physically and metaphysically, in order to embrace, right? What's the next question? Embrace. This is why they're in this particular order. I dedicate myself to releasing first so that I'm free. My hands are free. My arms are open, both physically and mentally. Now I can embrace. Now I dedicate myself to embracing that possibility. Once I embrace the possibility, it makes doing a lot easier, right? You ever try to go to the gym and do the hard work of the gym without embracing the idea that you're capable of it? It doesn't work. You have to embrace the possibility first. So you release and let go of the idea that you can't do it, or that you're going to be resistant, or you have fear, or whatever it is, right? You release what you have to release so that you can embrace what you got to embrace, so that you can do what you got to do. Now you're engaged, you're doing, and when you're doing, you generate the vibration and the energy of being. And once the doing is like turning the crank on the wheel and getting the engine going. Once you get that centrifugal force going, then boom, you burst into being. And when you are being the vibration of your highest idea, the vision is automatic. The vision is automatic because you've released, you've embraced, you're doing, you're being. You see? So we ask the questions in this order. Highest idea. What must I become? What must I do? What must I embrace? What must I release? But we manifest in the opposite direction. I dedicate myself today to releasing everything that I need to release. I dedicate myself today to embracing what I need to embrace. I dedicate myself now to doing what is mine to do. And out of the doing, I find myself in the energy of being. And when I find myself in the energy of being, the vision is actually living and breathing through me. I want you to hold a possibility for the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, for Centers for Spiritual Living, for your life and for our collective life, that there is a vision that is calling us forward into new paradigms and new realities of justice and peace and wholeness and equality and transformation. And we release all the old ideas now. We're not trying to go back. We're not rushing to the summer. We're not rushing to some deadline this summer to go back to the world the way it was, back to the traffic patterns and back to the busyness and back. No. We're trying to embrace a new vision. And so we're releasing all of those things that this pandemic has taught us. We're releasing all the behaviors that weren't working. We release all the. I implore companies right now to release the policies and the practices of your employees that were not working, that were not allowing for thriving and sustainability, They were driving people to stress and to medication and to divorce and to all kinds of dysfunction, right? And this pandemic has taught us there's a different way we can do it. There's a different way we can do it. So we release all the things that are no longer working so that we can embrace what's possible. What do you hold as possible for yourself? Oh, I hold a vision of what's possible for the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. Oh, that has an amazing place to come to and to connect and to thrive in physically, but it also connects so beautifully, powerfully, and wonderfully with people all over the United States in ways that is compelling and gripping and engaging. And we are supported by people far and wide. And I know exactly what is ours in this moment to do to make that a possibility, to make that a reality. And I dedicate myself to doing those things. And I find myself being in the energy of something bigger than I even said yes to a year and a half ago. Yes, that's how it works. That's how it works. So I invite you to do this week for your own self, for your own life. Ask the questions in that first order, and then dedicate yourself out of the practice in the reverse order to create a greater good in your life. The power is in the release. All spiritual work is in the subtraction. 100% of our spiritual growth is in the letting go. And the reason that is so is so that we can embrace and do and be that which is ours to do and be. Thank you, my friends, beloved family. I love you all so much. Looking forward to seeing so many of you on the 20th and continuing to connect online and growing together. I love you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Reverend David, for that potent, amazing message. Thank you. Thank you. The vision of what is possible for our lives. And we need to find out what we are wanting, what is wanting us. Thank you so much. We thank you for your leadership. And we are very grateful that you are our spiritual director here. Thank you. We're also grateful for our amazing staff, Jean Bell, Shannon Pruitt, Penelope Williams, and all of our wonderful, dedicated practitioners, our board led by Karen Ratz, our tithers, pledgers, and all of our wonderful, dedicated supporters. It is now time to financially support our spiritual center, the brook from where we are spiritually fed. And the feeding we just got, we want that to keep on coming. Your financial gifts will help us to step up our game, to help keep our spiritual community vibrant and alive with these Sunday services, these productions, our weekly ongoing classes, productions with our amazing producer, Shannon, and the rest of our staff. Also, appreciation goes out to Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. So let us activate the law of circulation in our lives and say together and affirm our affirmation for grateful giving. I live in a universe of abundance, and as I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Thank you, Penelope.
We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone.